We have breaking news coming into the newsroom. We are just over an hour out from President Trump's threatened deadline for Iran, and he has just posted what he says an announcement that will delay that by 2 weeks and that he says will lead to a ceasefire. Let me read you what the president has said, because it's been a matter of great foreign policy intrigue. In a lengthy new post, he says that he's had conversations with Pakistan as an intermediary and that he agrees to, quote, suspend the bombing and attack of Iran for a period of 2 weeks. He calls it a, quote, double-sided ceasefire. The president goes on to write that he has already met and exceeded military objectives and received a 10-point proposal from Iran. That has been independently reported, some discussion of that. And he says now that he believes it's a workable basis on which to negotiate. He says that there's basically a kind of agreement between the U.S. and Iran that he claims is already in motion, but a, quote, 2-week period will allow the agreement to be finalized. This is a major development. On the United States side, you can look at this as the president changing what had been a major foreign policy threat. He had been criticized for basically threatening to target civilians and commit what would be under the Geneva Convention war crimes. That's been controversial no matter what. This new post, and it is the style of President Trump's diplomacy that doesn't come from the State Department or even in an address to the public or reporters, but often in his social posts. But this post asserts, and we'll be reporting out what Iran says, that they have something that can give them an off-ramp. 2 weeks without fighting, if it were to hold as a ceasefire, would be a major de-escalation and development in this war. This would be a foreign policy and market-moving event. But as with other claims the president has made, we will have to follow what actually happens and what the other parties say. Again, all of this is subject to what the president and the United States have been seeking, with global energy supply reaching crisis territory, that this would include the opening of the Strait of Hormuz. I mentioned to you, we also have reporting on Trump's DOJ, including the first appearance of Trump's new acting attorney general, Todd Blanche, replacing Pam Bondi for now, and discussing what has been criticism of their enemies list.
It is true that some of them involve men, women, and entities that the president in the past has had issues with and that believe should be investigated. That is his right, and indeed it is his duty to do that. People say the president wants to go after his political enemies. No, the president has said time and time again that he wants justice. I operate every day on doing everything that I need to do to execute the president's agenda and priorities.
Blanche may be auditioning for the promotion of getting that job full-time, but he is still a member of the bar, a member of the Justice Department who has sworn to uphold the Constitution. And that's a bad sign for his credibility as he sort of sane-washes or whitewashes, or pick your terminology, what has been a proven vendetta by Donald Trump that's been repeatedly rebuffed and rejected in the courts precisely because it's unlawful. The DOJ's Civil Rights Division is reportedly now going after yet another individual who's crossed Donald Trump. You may remember the Jan 6 witness, Cassie Hutchinson. She, of course, worked for his chief of staff, was a loyal Trump aide until she provided what she said was truthful testimony in that investigation. Now she stands across the same kind of enemies list pursuits. We're joined by the New York Times Magazine's Emily Bazelon. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Real talk, we have a lot going on. And we still got this news and you in. So I'm happy about that, only because it's important. And I thought that Todd Blanche sounded much more like a partisan White House spokesperson than an independent DOJ official in the way he described the enemies list. Your view?
Well, right. I mean, he is saying that justice consists of going after who Trump decides to target. And I think what he left out is, you know, what is the evidence against these targets, right? I mean, we've seen in all of these cases, or many of them, that there is very thin evidence, that grand juries have rejected evidence, that courts have said no to these kinds of charges. And so that is the word justice is kind of separated from what it actually takes to achieve justice, which is you start with the evidence, not the people who you've decided to criminally charge in advance.
Yeah, and he's stepping in for Pam Bondi, who had a really rocky and ineffective tenure. She lost a lot of those cases mentioned. She also struggled to oversee the division that tries to win at the Supreme Court. Now, he gets the same hand she had if he stays in this job. But I wanted to show, because so much is going on, that this was really an abominable and ineffective tenure, and a short one, of an AG. Take a look.
We are so proud to work at the directive of Donald Trump.
2 failed attempts to indict New York Attorney General Letitia James.
Weaponization has ended.
At least for now, both cases will be dismissed.
Federal charges have been dropped against Mayor Ras Baraka.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now. Our memo on Epstein clearly points out that there was no client list.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, I did tell you, because we saw what you did in the Senate.
You're a lawyer, not even a lawyer.
Emily, do you think the fact that she was bad at her job is part of why she lost her job?
I mean, from the reporting, it seems like Trump is frustrated that these criminal prosecutions he wanted to see go forward have failed. Hard to see how Todd Blanche escapes some of the blame for that. I mean, no one ran more defense on the Epstein files than he did. And, anyone inside this Justice Department right now, like you said, has the same bad hand, but also presumably has already disappointed the president.